Everybody wants to hit the ball farther. Whether they know it or not, the tour players have learned to use the right muscles to hit the ball long and straight. You just can't go into the gym and start pumping iron. You have to know what muscles to strengthen. Even the TPI guys, I think, are behind the times. Their system was developed in 2003, and the swing is quite different today. In order to hit the ball long, the golf swing has become very rotational. Most players that I teach don't know how to use their rotational muscles. Here are the muscles that you need to learn to use. Definitely number one, the left teres minor, the right peroneus, both infraspinatus muscles, both external obliques, the multifidus muscles, the piriformis muscle on the left gluteus medius and minimus, both gracilis muscles, the anterior head of both deltoids, and the posterior head of the left deltoid. Here's Tiger Woods at the 2019 Masters that he won. He's doing a little drill while he has some downtime before he has to hit his shot. He's rotating both his upper arms and also rotating his body. He understands the importance of rotation, and he's actually hitting the ball further now than he was 10 years ago. I've been showing you this in slow motion, and now I'm going to show it in regular speed. He's using all the muscles that we're going to talk about in this video. Do you and your personal trainer know what these muscles are, or have you even heard of them before? The left teres minor muscle is the main muscle in the body that is responsible for creating distance. Its origin is on the left edge of the scapula, and it inserts on the lateral edge of the left upper arm. When the muscle contracts, it will pull the arm in the direction of the arrow. During the forward swing, this muscle will bring the left arm forward, it will bring it closer to you, and it will externally rotate the upper arm. Cade is going to rotate his left upper arm. It's going to come forward and closer to him. This is what the teres minor does. Watch. It's mainly the teres minor that has created this sort of shaft flex. This has led to the marked increase in distance on the PGA Tour. I call the peroneus the magic muscle. Here's a clip from my original 2-hour video.
So this is the right fibula and the right tibia, the bigger bone. But the peroneus origin is on the right fibula. It actually is two muscles, but they act as one. When one contracts, the other contracts, and they both go into the same tendon. So the origin of the peroneus is here and here on the fibula, but this is a very unusual muscle, and it does so many things in the golf swing, but it's also unusual in the fact that its tendon actually comes around and wraps around underneath the foot, and the insertion is right there. And so when it contracts, it pulls this way. So what's going to happen when the muscle contracts is, because this tendon is underneath the foot, it's going to pull the foot outward and back a little bit like this.
You will notice that the right little toe comes off the ground much further than the right big toe. The contact point of the right foot then becomes the inside back of the right heel. I call the peroneus the magic muscle for the following reasons. It stabilizes the right leg during the backswing. It helps keep you in your front to back posture. It prevents the right hip from turning behind the back. I think this is the Death Star of the golf swing. It also prevents the right hip from going out toward the target line on the forward swing. If the right hip goes out toward the target line during the forward swing, it will go underneath you and pull you out of your posture. You can see why I call it the magic muscle. Do me a favor, keep it contracted during your whole swing. The infraspinatus is another crucial muscle. Let's take a look. The right infraspinatus goes from the scapula to the top of the right arm. When the infraspinatus contracts, it makes the upper arm go toward the ball and externally rotate. Steve is demonstrating both the right and left infraspinatus muscles. This will establish the plane on the takeaway and also keep the club on plane after impact. Using the right infraspinatus on the takeaway prevents the club from going under the plane and keeps it out in front of you. Tony Finau has really changed his swing. Most of the guys on the tour are trying to get the club steep at the top of their backswing. If we drew a line on his shaft, it would point just beyond his big toe. Take a look at where his right elbow is. He'll use the infraspinatus to move his right elbow more in front of him, while his hands don't move forward hardly at all. Now the line along his shaft is pointing at the ball. Some people use the term shallowing. I say that it is getting it back on the address plane. His elbow is now in front of him. From this position, he will use his rotational muscles to create enormous shaft flex and therefore distance. Watch him in slow motion. Sam Burns went through a bad stretch of playing poorly until he started doing this routine with the takeaway. He played pretty well at the Masters. These guys must think the takeaway is pretty important. If he knew how to use his right infraspinatus, he wouldn't have to do all these rehearsals. One of the biggest changes on the tour in the last 20 years is that the players are using their external obliques to turn the upper body instead of using the hips to turn the body. The external obliques are thin muscles that wrap around the body. The left oblique turns the torso to the right, while the right oblique turns the torso to the left. They're the only muscles in the body that can turn a circle around the spine. This side view shows how the right external oblique will turn the body to the left. From the back, you can see how the left external oblique turns the body to the right, while the right external oblique turns the body to the left. The multifidus is responsible for putting you in the correct posture at address and also maintaining posture through impact. The multifidus runs from the shoulder to the hips. When these muscles contract, they arch the lower back, but they also pull the shoulders back and prevent hunching of the upper back. Make sure you keep your lower back arched as you lean over from the waist. Here's Hubert Green. See how hunched he is? He isn't using his multifidus to arch the lower back. Can you imagine what the tour swings would look like today if they used postures like this to copy? Fortunately, this guy came along and they all started copying him. Jordan Spieth has good posture, nice curve in his lower back. He's using the multifidus. Almost every tour player arches his right lower back through and after impact. This helps them maintain their posture. You need the right multifidus to be able to do this.
The correct way to set the hips is to try to get the left hip higher than the right hip and the left knee higher than the right knee. The easiest way to achieve this is to pretend that there is a clock on your belt buckle. Now try to turn the clock from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock while the left knee is moving over top of the left foot and the right knee is moving so that the outside of the right knee is on the inside of the right foot. While you're moving your knees and your hips, the upper body should remain in place. This will take some practice.
If you understand the biomechanics, this will be a little easier. In order for you to perform the task, you have to move the right knee just inside the right foot. As the left piriformis contracts, it will move the left femur up and in toward the center of the body. That will move the right hip bone down and you will have completed your task. Setting your hips this way will allow you to maintain your posture on the backswing, and it will also protect your back. The gluteus medius and minimus are muscles on the left side of your hip.
So the gluteus medius and minimus are actually very large muscles on the side of this pelvic bone, and where it attaches is right here, right at the head of the femur. So it doesn't have much leverage, but what it does is it moves the femur laterally and rotates it. And in addition, it'll move the knee, since the knee is also attached to the femur.
Watch Jordan Spieth. His left knee will go across his foot and then curl away from the target line. This allows his hips to turn at the proper speed. Using the gracilis muscles will allow you to have a nice tight hip turn. The gracilis muscles are one of the groin muscles. They allow you to move your knees medially underneath the center of your body. Watch Rory. His left knee will move underneath his zipper, and this allows a nice tight hip turn on the backswing. I find it very difficult for people to learn how to use the gracilis. Here's an exercise to make you feel it. Lay on your back, and then on the backswing, turn your left knee and try to touch the ground. And on the forward swing, turn your right knee and try to touch the ground. The feet should be about shoulder width apart. Turn your left knee in, and then turn both knees to the left. Turning your left knee to the left will also allow you to feel how the gluteus medius and minimus work. Then stand up, get in your posture, and you'll be able to feel how both knees should work on the backswing and the forward swing. Here's Jordan Spieth again. Left knee in on the backswing, left gracilis. Right knee in on the forward swing, right gracilis. Let's first look at the left anterior head of the deltoid. That helps us lift the left arm on the backswing.
The next muscle that we talked about to lift the club, the left arm, is the anterior head of the left deltoid. Now that muscle origin is right here. The anterior head is right here, right on this little tip of this bone. And then the insertion is right down here, about the middle, almost the middle of the left humerus. And so when that muscle contracts, it goes from here to over there, and when it contracts, the muscle pulls the bone and it lifts on an angle. Sammy, you holding up okay? We saw at the start of the downswing, or the transition, that the right arm has to come into the chest and rotate counterclockwise. Well, the muscle that does that is the anterior head of the right deltoid. So it's, again, its origin is on this little part of this bone, and then it connects to the mid part of the humerus, its insertion. So that if the arm is up like this, and the muscle goes from here to there, you can see that it would pull, when it contracts, it pulls it into the chest and rotates it counterclockwise. It does it just like this.
If this muscle doesn't pull the right upper arm across the chest, you will release the club early and lose a lot of distance. The left posterior head of the deltoid is what I call a helper muscle. It helps the teres minor muscle rotate the left upper arm at the start of the forward swing. Very crucial for creating maximum distance.
The posterior head of the left deltoid has its origin on the posterior portion of the scapula and inserts in the mid portion of the left humerus. So that muscle is going from here to there, and you can see when it contracts, it pulls the left arm down and in and starts to rotate it counterclockwise, just like that.
Here's the clip I showed you earlier of Tiger Woods, and I hope you realize now that he's using all the rotational muscles that we talked about in this video. Now that he's using all the proper rotational muscles in his swing after he's changed completely after his back operation, he's actually hitting the ball further. Are you able to use these rotational muscles? Can you even use them? Are they strong enough? Most people have markedly underdeveloped golf muscles because they're not muscles that we use in our everyday life. Come on into our facility and I can teach you how to use these golf muscles. Our personal trainers can show you how to strengthen them. Check out our website at denvergolfperformance.com or call me 303-915-7117.